New podcast in the description. I spoke on the NBA community on YouTube, just appreciating it and also speculating how far it can go. And then John Krasinski's new horror movie, A Quiet Place. Now if we get into, the playoffs that we are not a part of, hopefully this can be the last year that we're not in the postseason, but realistically it's probably going to be one more year after this one. If we look at what's been going on, Philadelphia beat the Cavs in round one. I feel like they did that last year, but I don't really remember. I could go check, but I'm not going to. The conference finals are kind of weird because Houston's not in there, and it's, the Wizards and the Sixers. There we go. Your NBA finals is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I assume Karl Anthony Towns has gone to a different level at this point. And the Philadelphia 76ers. Jimmy Butler in an NBA finals would be fun just because you know he would have some pretty colorful interviews. Also, the Towns versus Embiid matchup would be a basketball nerd's dream. So, I had to take control of the Sixers here just to simulate the games. I didn't influence the games or anything. In fact, there's a moment where Ben Simmons gets injured, and I just tell the CPU to deal with it because I'm not going to touch anything. So, Philadelphia's on a bit of a comeback. They were down 3-1. This is a big Game 6 in Philly, and now they got to go to Minnesota for a Game 7, as I kind of gave away the Game 6 outcome. There you go. The Sixers are your champions, with Markelle Fultz having a very lackluster Finals MVP performance, at least in terms of box score. But here you are. Philly wins it. And as we look on, I'm sure the players for us don't feel anything because it's a video game. But I'm going to act like that we're all motivated and we have extra oomph towards just wanting to get to this point, You don't want to look at other teams celebrating all the time. You want to be celebrating yourself. And you can start that in the lottery. We were very successful in the previous one where we selected Michael Porter Jr., even when the basketball gods screwed us over. What happens this time around where we're looked at to get number 8, number 7, something like that? Well, the Brooklyn Nets rigged the system by jumping into the top 3, which knocked us down one spot to where we have the 8th pick in this thing. We do not have the luxury that we had last season. And look at that. The team that just won the championship has the 2nd pick in the draft from that Kings, Lakers, Celtics trade of whatever. So that's good for them. Zion Williamson is supposed to go number 1. So the dream of him being on our team and just being our version of LeBron James, it's not going to happen. It would be cool, but it's just, unless we were going to get crazy with trading up in the thing, which we're not going to do, then we're not going to get him. We're not going to get RJ Barrett or Cameron Reddish or any of those guys at the top. What I think we need is a point guard. We've been molding Devin Booker somewhat to be like a better playmaker, but he's never going to be a real point guard kind of a guy, and he's got to be scoring. He's got to be putting the points on the board and all that stuff. We need someone else who can focus on getting everybody else involved, right? Now, there's this dude who's probably fine, but we've already got Dragan Bender at the 4, and I really don't want to take on another power forward right now. We look at point guards. There's Darius Garland, who probably won't even fall to us, but I think he's worth talking about anyway, because it could potentially happen. He is basically Rajon Rondo on offense. He's all about getting others involved, but if you're asking him to score himself, might not have the best time. That was a ridiculous alley-oop by Bam, by the way. Hopefully he does that for us in this upcoming season. I mean, having a guy like this would be good for us because we do have a few shoot-first guys between Devin Booker and, just someone who can set up a Bender would be good, and someone who can get Josh Jackson some opportunities in transition, and of course Michael Porter Jr. and all that. But where you are in the NBA today, if your point guard is not a real threat to score, not even like a big 17-plus point guy, like just being a threat at all, like if you're not that, it is kind of difficult for you to really make a positive impact. Next, we look at Trey Jones, who is the brother of Tyus Jones. And he's a pretty similar player to his brother. He's a team-first kind of guy. He is a good three-point shooter, so he would provide spacing and all that. However, I feel like while he is a pretty safe pick, He's not a guy who has a lot of potential to really become like a super above average player. He seems like a backup point who can play a solid 20 to 25 minutes a game, just fit into a team well, not make a lot of mistakes, and that's fine if you already have your point guard of the future or you're a pretty good team that's already in playoff contention. We are not that. I think we need to swing for the fences a little bit more. So Trey Jones, I mean, if we had to pick him, I guess I wouldn't be too against it, but I wouldn't love the idea, especially when we have Devontae Graham already. I like the idea of Immanuel Quickley, who is supposed to go one spot underneath us. So we should have a chance at drafting him. While Quickley is not as good of a passer as some of the other guys here, he's still pretty damn good. Maybe not like Rondo levels of good, but whatever the level below that is, I guess. But the thing is that he has a few more offensive abilities. Now, his moving jump shot is probably the one thing that's a little bit of a scare. However, his shooting overall, I would say, is still pretty okay. Like, if you leave him open from 3, then he can make some open jumpers. It's just when he gets contested shots and pull-ups, that's when he's going to have some trouble. But, I mean, we can work with him on those things, right? I'm not fearful that he's going to create, like, huge spacing problems for us. And if we get to the things he does well, is he beats defenders in one-on-ones, he has pick-and-roll opportunities. I don't know why Zach Randolph's on the Rockets, but there we go. And he can finish at the basket, he can make plays for other guys, and he's like a pretty decent half-court player, even if he's not the most natural shooter, I guess. He also is a pretty damn good defensive player as well. And some scouting reports would say he even has some Patrick Beverley in him, which is just perfect for us, seeing as we already have Patrick Beverley. So the way I look at it with Quickley is he can make plays for others, he can score at the rim, he's got to get a little better with his jump shot, but that's cool. He can defend. I like him quite a bit. Another reason we need to look at a point guard is that Brandon Knight's contract is up after this season, and I'm probably not going to re-sign the guy, especially not for the $15 million that he's supposed to get paid. Well, that he's getting paid right now, I should say. So, I mean, you need like an actual starter at that spot. We can't just do this point guard by committee thing forever. Patrick Beverley should be on the roster. Don't really see him not being on the team. Play defense, all that good stuff. He'd probably still start over Quickley if we just selected him. Now, as for Devontae Graham, I mean, he's still here. I mean, Beverley's not going to be here forever, of course. And I think with Graham, Beverley is kind of injury prone, so Graham can get minutes that way, and he's always going to be lingering. I'm not going to give up on him, even if we select someone better than him in this upcoming draft. I feel good about him, man. I think Immanuel Quickley can defend, he can do stuff in transition, he can beat guys in situations, and I think he could be like an Eric Bledsoe kind of a player, that similar mold of guy, something in that area, which I think is a pretty quality player for us. So that's that. The podcast is also a thing in the description. NBA community stuff, appreciating it, speculating on where it can go moving forward, and then A Quiet Place, the new horror movie by Jim from The Office.